Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast. My name is TJ Jones. Thanks for checking out the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Well, wrestling fans, it has been a very long weekend for everybody, especially for those that actually attended Wrestlemania 35 in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. I pray for each and every one of you. 7.5 hours of WrestleMania, man. That is absolutely insane. And I actually been there, man. I know last year at WrestleMania 34, it was pretty damn long too, man. Sitting in those seats and trying to keep that energy up had to be one of the hardest things I ever had to do. And I'm one of the biggest wrestling fans in the world. But on this edition, we're going to talk a little bit about WrestleMania. We're not going to talk about every single match, but we are going to be talking about some of the highlights that came out of WrestleMania. And of course, we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. Now, WrestleMania, once again, it took place at MetLife Stadium, WrestleMania 35. I mean, it was spectacular. Shouts out to WWE. They always do a great job. I mean, an outstanding job. Rather you always have something to say about WWE when it comes to creative, or if you don't, whatever. They are the best when it comes to the splendor. I will give them that. So, I mean, WrestleMania 35, the set was great. I mean, a huge Titantron in the background when superstars came out was great. I mean, just wonderful, man. I mean, I only can imagine those that actually were there in person, what it would actually look like. So, shouts out to WWE. But some of the things that we took out of WrestleMania, number one, we have a new Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion in Becky Lynch. Congratulations to Becky Lynch. I know a lot of fans out there are excited about that. She beat Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair in the triple threat match, the first all-women's main event of WrestleMania in the 35 years of its existence. And the match itself was terrible. I know I brought it all the way up here to bring it down. It was awful. Absolutely awful. Not one of those matches I want to see again. I mean, it was just bad, man. And I can understand it from a certain extent. I mean, 3 women making history. You're probably trying to get your mind right. You're watching all these different matches. You're probably listening to the crowd go through all these different emotions, and you want to go out there and knock it out the park because you're probably thinking about future women's main events. But, I mean, this fell flat. I mean, I don't know what the hell was going on. It just seems like it just didn't have any type of chemistry. The women, they did the best job I think they possibly can do, but it was just sloppy, man. Ronda Rousey, I heard that she broke her hand in a match. She looked sloppy. Charlotte Flair, I mean, she looked okay. Becky, she looked good in spots. But, I mean, the overall match, I mean, this chemistry was just awful. It was just downright awful, man. I feel bad for them, that they were the main event, the first female main event, and it actually happened like this. But it wasn't good, man. Not one of those matches I want to go back and be like, hey, I want to watch WrestleMania 35 and go back and watch because it was horrible. Once again, horrible. Moving on, we're going to talk about, I got to talk about this, man, Rey Mysterio. I know all this stuff happened. Why am I talking about Rey Mysterio? I'm a big Rey Mysterio fan. Rey Mysterio is in my top 5 among wrestlers. I want to say how much I respect Rey Mysterio because Rey Mysterio hurt himself, I think, at Monday Night Raw. It was said that he messed his ankle up pretty bad. And yet he still goes out there because it was Samoa Joe first WrestleMania. It was Samoa Joe first WrestleMania. You know he had to be excited about that. And on top of it all, he actually goes into WrestleMania as a champion. And Rey Mysterio didn't want to let him down. So he went out there and he weathered the storm, man. I mean, it was a squash match, but I just had to let that be known how much respect I have for Rey Mysterio. So shouts out to Rey, man. Class act. He's just a class act, man. What he has been doing since he's been back, how he has had great matches with Andrade Cien Almas and actually pushing this guy and elevating him and willing to look up at the lights in order to push some of these younger stars. I feel like that's what it's all about. And man, much respect to Rey Mysterio. Moving on, Universal title match. It actually started the night. I thought this was a good look because I feel like if this was at the middle of the card or towards the end of the card, I don't feel like it would have had the impact that it did. I think by Brock Lesnar opening WrestleMania against Seth Rollins, I think that it was good. I think that it gave the crowd, the right momentum going into the other matches. Watching Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar actually compete in an opening. Now, was the match good? Nope. Brock Lesnar, I'm just happy you're not champion anymore, man. I'm tired of Brock Lesnar. I don't understand why Vince McMahon feels like he has to continuously go out here and dig up the bones of these old past superstars who really don't give a damn about the business no more. They feel like the business needs them more than they need the business, and they go out there and want to do whatever the hell they want to do. Brock Lesnar does not care about the business, so why even have him out there? Just so you can get a few dollars out of him. That energy that you can be putting into Brock Lesnar, you could be putting into your next main eventer that actually want to be there for the next 10 to 15 years. Bye-bye, Brock Lesnar. Glad you're not Universal Champion anymore. Seth Rollins gets the victory. Seth Rollins was really excited. You can tell he was happy. The crowd was happy that Brock Lesnar was no longer champion anymore. And Seth Rollins is a champion that we're going to see as Universal Champion on television every single night. That is a good look. We got to talk about the tag team women's match. Awful match. The Iconics end up winning this. They end up being the new women's tag team champions. Sasha and Bayley, they deserve better when it comes to actually having a lengthy title run. Yes, but did they do anything to actually deserve a run? No, they deserve better when it comes to actually defending the belt and maybe elevating it, but they don't deserve better when it comes to them. What they've been doing in these matches. And I'm going to say something that's probably not the most popular thing in the world, but Sasha Banks is overrated. Sasha Banks is overrated. Now, a lot of people have been telling me, Sasha, she's the boss. She's the legit boss. She's one of the best. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see how she is the best wrestler among the women. I just don't. I don't even think she's in the top 3. She comes out with her Kanye West sunglasses on, man, and she comes out there with her little rings on, talking about she's the boss, but she goes out here and she botches left and right, and it don't seem like her heart or her soul is into these matches. Bayley, on the other hand, has elevated. Now, Bayley started off a little rough, but as a tag team, Bayley has been putting on some great matches. And Bayley is one of the people that I want to see. I don't want to see Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks, to me, she's a little bit of a jerk from what I hear. She doesn't want anybody to come up to her. She's not really approachable with fans. Me personally, I'm not trying to meet superstars. I'm not. I've never been that type of person. Anytime I meet a superstar or a celebrity, they leave a bad taste in my mouth. I never met a celebrity that I walked up to and I had a good impression when I left them. I always talk about this story. One of my favorite wrestlers as a kid was Rob Van Dam. I had the opportunity to meet him in the airport, and I asked him for his autograph. I was maybe like 16 at the time, and he kind of blew me off, man, talking about he was trying to eat. Look, I understood, man. Whatever, but he called me back after he was done eating, and I had my pen and I had my paper ready, thinking he was going to sign it. He ended up pulling out a card to his comic book store in San Francisco. And after that, I was like, man, bump these celebrities, man, like for real. Like, I understand the game. You say all this good stuff and you talk about how much you love the fans, but in reality, you don't love the fans like that. You love they're in the building. You love they spending money on your merchandise, but you don't really give a damn about them. At the end of the day, I understand that. But Sasha Banks, she just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And she leaves a bad taste in my mouth, not only as a person from some of the things that I see and witness, but she leaves a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to the in-ring performance as of late. Bayley has been carrying that. The Iconics, are they the most talented women in WWE? Absolutely not. But we all know what WWE is about. If you are entertaining and you can get a response out the crowd, Vince McMahon will invest in you. And he is going to invest in the Iconics. So it is what it is, man. They are the tag team champions. And now one of the main things I got to talk about, and I'm going to leave it at this because besides this, we can talk about Dave Bautista and Triple H, 2 50-year-old men who blew up in the first 5 minutes of the match, but I don't want to talk about that. We can talk about Hawkins, how he broke his losing streak, and he became a tag team champion with Zack Ryder, but who cares? Tony Nese, he won a Cruiserweight title. Congratulations to him. I mean, he's been putting in the work for years. He's been one of the original Cruiserweights on 205 Live, so congratulations to him, but it's not much to talk about. Nobody was even in the building to actually see the match. But I want to talk about Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston is the new WWE champion. And, you know, Kofi Kingston winning the WWE championship, in my opinion, was the greatest WrestleMania moment ever. And I watched every single WrestleMania imaginable. I mean, I promise you, I watched every single WrestleMania. I've been a wrestling fan since WrestleMania 6, but I've watched every single WrestleMania. That was the best WrestleMania moment, in my opinion, ever. For this guy, the first African-born world champion. I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing, man. As a fan of wrestling for more than, I say, 28 years, I have to say that I never thought that would happen. I never thought that I would actually see an African-American or African champion. I didn't. You know what I'm saying? We all talk about The Rock, and I've been talking to people about, oh, The Rock, he's the first black champion. Look, whatever. But I never thought I'd see a moment like this. To see Kofi Kingston, a guy who basically been on TV since 2008, I mean, go up and down the road, has put on good matches, man, but we never seen Kofi Kingston in this position. And for him to actually win, man, and you looking at Big E and you looking at Xavier Woods, I mean, two big burly guys shedding tears. And you see the crowd, man, just crying, man, just tears of joy for a guy who deserves it. It was amazing, man. I watched that moment about 1 million times. I mean, him giving that Trouble in Paradise to Daniel Bryan and that 3 count, and how Kofi's eyes got all big, man. He just couldn't believe it, man. It was a great moment. And a lot of people are like, oh, man, Kofi Kingston, he may not be champion for long. I don't care. I don't care how long he can be champion. Matter of fact, Kofi Kingston could have lost the match on Monday Night Raw. They could have had a unification match, and he could have lost to Seth Rollins. They could have unified the title. I wouldn't care. The fact of the matter is, this moment happened, and it is something that will never, ever be taken away. People will be showing their grandkids this moment of Kofi Kingston winning the WWE Championship. It was a great moment for wrestling fans. It was a great moment for African Americans everywhere. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about race, but it is what it is, man. When you don't see stuff like this happen all the time, when you don't see people of color win these type of championships, it means something, man. And I apologize if people making it think I'm just trying to put color into it or trying to, you know, make it black, white, but I'm pretty sure people of all different colors, man, I seen it. They were shedding tears. But it meant a lot for the African American culture. And man, I was just glad to see it. I was jumping around my living room, man. I don't think I ever been that excited to watch wrestling. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I've never been more excited about that. And I mean, WrestleMania 30, when Daniel Bryan, won the WWE Championship, I was really excited about that. But I mean, this just completely exceeds that. Completely. Congratulations to Kofi Kingston. Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live. A lot of people been upset about that. Oh, I'm so upset. Oh, what were they doing? What are people doing on Raw? Who's from SmackDown? Why are people from SmackDown on Raw? Look, for all those fans out there, calm the hell down. All right. Man, I'm not one of those wrestling podcasters who sit down and critique every single thing with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, I just don't. I love my life. And I'm not saying that people who critique names with a fine-tooth comb don't love their life. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, for all those people out there who just take away from their own experience by completely trying to dissect every moment, I am not one of those people. I'm not. I try to enjoy the experience. I liked SmackDown Live. Did I like Monday Night Raw? Hell no. But that's a every week occurrence because I believe that SmackDown Live is better than Raw. I mean, that's just what it is. And you can easily tell. I mean, after a night like WrestleMania, after these guys probably going back and forth, man, and probably trying to make sure that they're putting on the best event ever, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live was not going to be a great show. It is what it is. It was pretty obvious that this was all to try to get to next week for the Superstar Shakeup. Calm the hell down, all right? I enjoyed the fact that Braun Strowman was on SmackDown Live. I enjoyed the fact that Drew McIntyre was on SmackDown Live. I enjoyed the fact that we had a brother versus brother tag team championship match on SmackDown, the Usos versus the Hardys. I enjoyed that, okay? I enjoyed watching that. I gave SmackDown Live a 6 out of 10, and I enjoyed it. And I would debate anybody about that. I am not trying to sit around and critique promos. Oh, he was supposed to say that, but he said hat. And he was supposed to jump through the ropes, but he tripped underneath the rope, so I'm going to take some points off. Whatever. It was decent, man. It was about the possibility. That's what it was all about. The possibility of maybe a Braun Strowman or maybe a Drew McIntyre or maybe a SmackDown superstar. You know, like a Kofi Kingston can move over. Maybe the New Day will get split up. Maybe the Bar gets split up. That's what it was about, okay? The whole Universal WWE unification, that was a little bit of a troll. I mean, if you want to argue with that, I completely agree. But everything else, I understood what it was. We need to stop, okay? I am critiquing the overall matches. I'm critiquing the overall promos. Can you not tell me that Sami Zayn didn't drop a pipe bomb? I mean, maybe you felt offended because you were one of the people that he was talking about. Hell, it is what it is, man. It was good. They had some good points. You're telling me that you didn't enjoy Sami Zayn's promo? Are you telling me on SmackDown you didn't enjoy the fact of a possible Samoa Joe versus Braun Strowman? We talk about how Samoa Joe has been getting squashed. He talks a good game. He gives good promos only to get squashed. And Braun Strowman comes down there and he goes toe-to-toe with the Monster Among Men. But if he would have got squashed, they squashed him. They don't care anything about Joe. But they gave him an opportunity. We don't know. Maybe they get split up and maybe that was just something. But I watched Bruce Pritchard's podcast. Bruce Pritchard, he still works with WWE. And he talks about how Vince McMahon puts these larger-than-life characters in the middle of the ring. And he listens to the crowd's response. That's why if you ever watch the Royal Rumble, you would actually see like two guys stand in the middle of the ring. They probably wouldn't do anything. And then they'll see how the crowd reacts. And then all the other superstars start jumping on those guys. It's all about trying to test what people actually want. This superstar shakeup sending Drew McIntyre to SmackDown, people just wanted to see how it would be. We know that WWE, they care about Twitter. And they care about what some of the fans are saying on social media. So you know that they probably use these moments to try to see what the fans thought about these superstars possibly switching and moving over, and seeing what, this match actually means, or how receptive these fans are for these matches, and for these superstars. I just feel like that was what it was about. But the wrestling itself, I thought it was good. I thought that the match was good. I thought that the Hardys and the Usos match was good. I mean, you may not like the ending, and a lot of people are asking the questions, why didn't they have this match at WrestleMania? That's a good question. That's a good question, but maybe the WWE understands that at the end of the year, some of these superstars after WrestleMania are going to get fired. We all know about spring cleaning. We crack jokes about it all the time. And maybe the WWE was trying to make sure that these superstars get their last payday. There's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't even realize. I mean, these superstars going back and forth, putting their bodies on the line at these house shows, at these radio interviews and stuff like that, man. We don't pay any attention to that stuff. We don't. We only just see what happened on a Monday and a Tuesday night. We don't know about the work that these superstars put in behind the scenes, prepping before these shows, and the effort they put towards. I mean, if you're at work and you're working hard and you're trying to do everything to the best of your abilities, don't you want to be compensated? Don't you want to get some type of appreciation? I mean, wouldn't you like to get something from somebody to let you know that you are appreciated? Maybe that's what WWE is doing. And I know you're probably asking yourself, what that have to do with wrestling? What does it have to do with the overall show and the product? I mean, they are the superstars that make the product what it is. So at the end of the day, we're critiquing Monday Night Raw. Nothing really happened. I mean, you can talk about the unification title. We could talk about the vignette that will bring Bray Wyatt back. I don't know, the little puppet in a box. I don't know what's going on with that. I think Bray Wyatt deserves better. But at the end of the day, I don't really think there's too much to talk about, man. The crowd for the night after WrestleMania was horrible. I think it was one of the worst crowds that they had after WrestleMania in more than 4 years. But, I mean, I will say the WWE on Monday Night Raw didn't give them much to cheer about. And I think people are so used to, the call-ups and stuff like that, the shock of a NXT superstar coming over. But I think that the WWE is waiting on that till next week. I think they're waiting on that to next week, when they shake things up, and maybe you'll see some of your favorite NXT stars actually move over then. But I think in the future, I think that the WWE might want to consider, since the WWE's WrestleMania event is like the season finale and going into next year, maybe the night after WrestleMania should be the superstar shakeup every single year. But, I mean, that's just a suggestion I have. But this has been the TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast. What do you think about WrestleMania? What do you think about Raw and Smackdown? I would love to hear from you. Please follow me on Twitter. I just started Twitter, so I really need your help to try to make my Twitter following grow. Follow me at TJ the Radio Guy. That's TJay, the Radio Guy. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Search TJ Knows Wrestling, and also hit that bell for notifications. Till next time, I'll see you down the road.